Welcome into the Snapped podcast. My name is Tyler Kluver, and I'm a former Division I athlete turned entrepreneur. I run my own fitness and nutrition coaching business, as well as a sports media brand that produces podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates exclusive paid content. The fun part is I don't really know what I'm doing as a business owner. I'm just figuring it out day by day. This show, Snapped, acts as an audio journal for my thoughts and ideas on fitness, health, business, mindset, and whatever else I find important on the pursuit to personal happiness and a balanced life. I hope you can take something from the show that makes your life a little bit better. And regardless, I'm just happy you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. What's up? Snap podcast. This one could be a little choppy and exciting. Is it exciting? Well, I guess that's for you to figure out. An exciting, eventful. That's the term I was looking for. Eventful last week of the CrossFit Open. An eventful time for me physically right now. And I know that you guys don't get on here to hear about me complain. I don't get on here to hear me complain. In fact, I hate complaining. But within that complaint mindset, there is growth and stuff to learn from it. So we're going to mention how I've been feeling sorry for myself, just to know how we come out of that on the other side. Because I do think this. I think that, and I talk about this with clients all the time. There's not a single client that I've had that hasn't felt sorry for themselves at one point. It's what we do as humans. It's not necessarily what this podcast was going to be about today, but maybe it will be. We are going to go over, this is mostly the 20, so if you're here just randomly for the 24.3 recap podcast for me, Tyler Kluver, who some of you may know, and some of you may just be like, I want to hear this guy talk about 24.3. You're going to get that. But this all ties together. So let's start. Let's just start from the beginning. Last week was week 3. This is coming out 2 days after the final submission deadline. I guess technically it's in the evening. This is in the Wednesday morning. So all scores have been in for the CrossFit Open. Suppose I should pull up what I actually got in the Open. Embarrassed about it, so not super happy to share it, but is what it is. Okay. So last week the Open workout comes out. If you guys remember correctly, or if you'd like to go back and listen to last week's episode, I predicted, not so geniusly, it's pretty much, if you know anything about CrossFit, you kind of understand the process at this point, that the last workout was going to include thrusters and pull-ups or muscle-ups of some kind. Well, score 1 for me. That is exactly what it was. So workout quickly was a total of 10 rounds. Those 10 rounds were split sort of into 2 parts. It was 1 score. The whole workout was just 1 score. How fast could you complete it? But it was split into 2 parts. So the first 5 rounds, you completed 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar pull-ups. Simple. 50 reps of each. Thrusters were at 95 pounds, very lightweight for someone who's semi-competitive. We'll call them a what do they call those? I'm not a pro athlete, but I'm I don't know. Light for me, right? That's pretty light. 50 chest bar pull-ups, not that bad. The second set of 5 rounds, rounds 6 through 10, you completed after 1 minute of rest from that 5th round. You drop after that last pull-up on the 5th set of chest bar pull-ups, and you get 1 minute of mandatory rest. You then hop into the second part of the workout where the thruster bar weight goes up. You're now doing 135 pounds on the bar, but only for sets of 7, still five rounds. And the skill on the gymnastics pulling goes up as well. We're now going from chest to bar muscle ups, 7 reps. So the second part is 5 rounds of 7 and 7. 50 and 50 on the first part, that's 100 reps. 35 and 35 on the second part, that's 70 reps. A total of 170 reps. Time cap of 15 minutes. Cool. The movements are who we thought they were. You know? Didn't really think about this at the time. Preface this a little bit. Similarly, we've been dealing with the injury stuff. So my training has looked, while I've tried to maintain baseline skill. Okay, so what does that mean? I've touched all of the movements in practice, in technique ways. I did not touch many of the CrossFit style movements in volume or capacity or intensity in any way in the last 3+ months. So, what does that look like? That means that I've done bar muscle ups, I've done thrusters, not very many times. And when I do them, it is for very, very low reps. And usually, if there's weight involved, it's for higher weight. And if it's a skill thing, it's in very small sets. So that when I was tasked to do them in here the open or in 3 or 4 weeks when the quarterfinals roll around, I'm capable of it. I'm capable of the movement pattern. My body isn't completely foreign to that, or it isn't foreign to my body. But that creates a problem. And that problem is that under fatigue, deep into a workout at high volume, it is going to be very, very difficult to, even if you're not tired lung wise, aerobically, muscle fatigue is going to set in very quickly. Instead of having the capacity to do dozens of those reps, you have the capacity to do sets of threes and fives, right? And so that's to some smaller extent what we experienced with the burpees and dumbbell snatches in week 1, the double unders in week 2, and the deadlifts, although the deadlifts really didn't affect me horribly, which is great. And then with every movement here in week 3, and really I would say the thrusters weren't bad. And maybe I should be looking at the silver lining of like, hey, I kept my strength up on purpose by doing what I could lifting wise over the last 3 months, so that when I got to heavy thrusters or sets of 10 lighter thrusters, like it wasn't going to affect me too much, and it didn't. But what did affect me was the bar, the gymnastics bar, the rig. Haven't done sets of chest to bar like that in a long time. Haven't done sets of muscle ups like that, maybe ever. I can count, and that's on me, but I can count maybe 3 to 5 workouts in my life where I've done 35 plus bar muscle ups. So, we got beat up. Long story short, 8 minutes into this podcast that I don't want to make a 25-minute podcast, we got beat up pretty bad. Add on top of that, right? I've been doing these workouts on Friday. The first one I just did by myself, got it out of the way Friday morning, after the announcement. Week 2, I was able to do Friday Night Lights. We talked about that with the boys, and that was fun on Friday evening. This one, I planned on doing the same thing. Workout comes out Thursday. Like, cool. I'm going to do Friday Night Lights for week 3 as well and throw down with the boys and have fun, have a good time, get a good push. Friday morning, I'm all excited for the workout. I had done a irresponsibly hard squatting workout on last Wednesday when the last podcast came out that had left me pretty damn beat up by Thursday and then certainly Friday morning in the quads and hamstrings. Stupid, because I knew that thrusters were coming. So much so that I like tweaked my hamstring Friday morning doing an air squat. And like not a small tweak, like a big tweak where it locked up for 10 to 15 minutes. I couldn't straighten my leg. And then I couldn't do an air squat for like a good day, like until someday mid-Saturday. That obviously kicked me out of the Friday Night Lights group. I wasn't going to be able to do it. I did go and watch the boys throw down. Fun time. Did a run for my half marathon training program on Saturday because somehow the pain and temporary impairment that I was experiencing did not really feel or tweak while I was in running. So I got to put together a run at least. So didn't do anything on Friday, did the run on Saturday, didn't do anything on Sunday. And I had to complete this thing 2 days ago now, Monday morning, by myself, which is fine. That's fine. This wasn't going to be a huge workout where like people yelling and being next to somebody was going to push me further anyway. This was very much so I have what I have and we just have to manage that. And we got our ass beat. Got our ass beat. You can watch the YouTube video. Tyler Kluver, CrossFit Open Workout 24.3. You can watch me lay there like like a dead animal for 5 minutes after the workout. Um, and when the video cuts off, I go to a different place in the gym and I lay there for 5 minutes like a dead animal. This is the most sick, beat up central nervous system, full body exhaustion feeling that I have felt from a workout piece in a long time. And I just did a 2K row 2 weeks ago that left me in another universe. Um, I mean, granted, that was 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes work. So this 15-minute piece put me in the dirt. And sure enough, it's Wednesday. I woke up both yesterday. It hit immediately. Monday by lunch, I'm already sore in the quads. Didn't really feel it in the upper body. Knew I was going to. And yesterday it set in. Today it's even worse. I definitely get DOMS 2 days later, the worst. So it's Wednesday. We're a little over 50 hours out from completing the workout. And I woke up this morning feeling like a truck hit me. My upper body, biceps, lats, everything, intercostal muscles, everything, just sore to the touch, tight. Uh, Feels like someone literally took a baseball bat and just beat me in every spot of my body. Quads, hamstrings, both gladly held up. Yeah, again, the thrusters they were the good part of this workout. Felt fine doing them during. Um, but they are beat to shit today. And again, this is the product, or maybe the consequence is a better term, for me not doing high volume thrusters at weight and high volume gymnastics at weight with the intensity, not just the volume at which I did them, but then also at open intensity, competition speed, which if you're in the fitness world, you know that competition speed, when you're going 100%, the score matters and you're fighting for every single second or rep. It's different than even when you hit a training piece at 95 or 98%. Like it is the adrenaline dump, the waste product that it creates in your body, the cortisol effect. Like it is a different reaction that your body has. And it's highlighted, honestly, a gap, a weakness in my training, in that I don't touch that 100% enough. And we will talk about that moving forward, maybe in the next few weeks. Obviously, we have the row program debrief to go over next week, which I'm excited about. Week after that, maybe we'll touch on what the open taught me. Could have put that in this episode, but I don't want to make it too long. But yeah, it was an exciting, eventful last week. When I tweaked my hamstring on Friday morning, I wasn't even sure that I was like, did I just pull my hamstring? Did I tear it? You always have those thoughts right off the bat. I was worried, and it is what it is. We got through it, but the results on the scoreboard, which we're going to touch on here in a second after I take a big long drink of water, not exactly what we wanted. So let's look at this. Okay. Um, so your boy last year, and we talked about expectations, and we talked about this. I talked about it with you guys. I said we shouldn't expect to be fitter this year. I know the kind of training that I did. We just talked about me not preparing well. In other ways, I did prepare decent. Like I've never done more zone 2 base building in my life leading up to an open, right? Like my zone 2 is accumulating and accumulating, and it's paying off too in the running, and we'll talk about that on another episode as well. But we took a step back this year in the open, and that's okay. It's unfortunate, but it's okay. It's the first time in, let's see, this was my 7th open that I've gone backwards from my previous open ranking. So way back when, in 2015, I got 31,417th in the world. The next year in 16, I got 31,266th. Essentially the exact same ranking, but I actually moved up 150 spots. Again, we've talked about why I had 2 years missing in there. It was kind of the end of my football career. 2019, we do the Open again. I was just slightly fitter, but I also hadn't been working out. I'd come off an injury. 27,773rd in the world. These are worldwide rankings. So I've cracked the top 30,000 at that point. 2020 rolls around. This is the first time I've actually been training CrossFit, not competitively, but I'm actually fully training CrossFit as my exercise program now. And I get top 10,000 in the world. Not bad. 9,801st. 2021, I have an injury, can't do the Open. 2022 rolls back around. This is the first year that we decide we're gonna try and be competitive in CrossFit. Like I'm gonna try and start training this more than just 45 minutes to an hour a day. We almost cracked the top 5,000 in the world, 5,419th. And then last year, the peak of my competitive, we've been peaking since then. We've been getting fitter and fitter. It slightly skewed because last year did have a lift component that was scored by itself, a max thruster, no doubt, which is probably one of the best that I could have had, which vastly skewed my open ranking. And again, open is not the best test of fitness, but that helped elevate me to a worldwide placement in the open in 2023 of 1,748th in the world, 315th in the North America West region, 663rd in the United States. So I'm almost top 500 in the country in CrossFit last year. And this year we took a significant step back. Obviously, the programming didn't help your boy out. There was no lifting. Good for quarterfinals, which is a better test and actually determines your overall ranking for the year. We'll talk more about that moving forward. So much to talk about moving forward. But basically take all those placements from this year and double them back up. So instead of top 660 in the country, I was 1,269th. Instead of just inside the top 2,000 worldwide, I'm sitting 4,141st, just outside top 4,000, just outside the top 600 in the North America West region. And you could sit here and you say, Tyler, that's pretty good. You're in the 98th percentile there. I think there was 180,000 men who signed up for the Open, and which would mean that 1800th would be about the top 1%, 3600th would be top 2%. I'm just outside the top 2% there, somewhere in the 97.5, 98 percentile. Most people would be happy with that. I'm not. I don't like to see those numbers go backwards. And it is what it is. The quarters will be a more telling story, but it's the first time that I've got a little smack in the face, and it's something that says, hey, you got a little bit of work to do. Now, there's also some qualifying factors here. We've talked about how I was injured and how that affected my training leading up to this. I did not put in the work that I have in the past. I should not have expected to be better. The programming didn't give me a little lifting win to help boost my score. I'm training for a half marathon at the exact same time as trying to compete in the CrossFit season. That's no excuse, but it just is reality. I need to understand that. And as well as the little mishap there where I got injured. Oh, and by the way, I was sick over the weekend. When you have a kid, you're just constantly sick. So I walk in there with a pretty serious head cold on Monday morning and had to complete this workout. Did not feel like I had any sort of extra gear that might have pushed me a little bit further. No excuse, but it is reality. And so just another qualifying sort of stipulator there. So we were worse this year. Our goal is to be somewhere near where we were last year in the quarterfinals and just compete and have fun. And our ultimate goal is to stay healthy. Nonetheless, I'm competitive and I like to get better, and I like to see metrics that are getting better. And that didn't happen for this stage of the competition. And so I've been feeling sorry for myself. And this is where we take ourselves all the way back to the front of the podcast, where I mentioned um, sometimes you start playing the victim in your mind a little bit. You feel bad about your score, your placement, how you did. My body feels like shit right now. Again, feels like Negan beat me with his Walking Dead bat. That's how I feel. Woke up this morning. I'm like, damn, I got to train. I have a 2-a-day today. I've got a CrossFit session for about an hour, and then I need to go on a pretty high intensity pace run for my training program. And I didn't feel like doing a damn thing today. But I got my ass up. We got our training session in, hit a double on at 215. It feels like my muscles are working at 50% speed. They're like they've got goop in them or like molasses. They're not working properly. But I warmed up. I hit a 1K rest, 1K repeat on the rower at a semi high intensity. Not anything crazy. I think I averaged like a 141 for the two 1Ks with a 3-minute rest in between. But that got me going. That hurt. That was hard. Do something hard. You feel accomplished. You start to feel motivated. Got me into a decent little rhythm for a snatch, heavy snatch EMOM with some shuttle runs. And I got my CrossFit session in. Later, I'm going to run this 2-mile pace run at 7:38, and I'm going to crush that. Yesterday, had the best running session so far. I did the running in the gym on the Assault Runner. Generally thought of as harder to run faster on that, easier to run outside. I don't know if that's true. I almost feel like you can sort of manipulate the pace by kind of like extending your stride on a runner that's self-propelled, and that increases the pace without having to. I'm not really sure. I have to look into that more. But generally, I think people consider the Assault Runner to be 5 or 10% slower if you're going to run a mile time trial or something on it. I ran my intervals at 4 minutes, 1K repeats with a 1-to-1 rest, and I was feeling elite. Had an incredible running session while I was sore. So we're getting the work done. I proved to myself that we show up. We don't feel sorry for ourselves. Even if we do feel sorry for myself, we say, suck it the fuck up, go to work, just start moving, and then you feel better. And then when I do the work and I have a good run or I have a good snatch out there, I look myself in the fucking face and I say, this is what champions are made of. This is what people who get shit done are made of. Shit's hard. You don't want to do it. You do it anyway. You succeed. It feels good. And I said I didn't want to make it a 25-minute podcast, and I did anyway. So here's what we're looking at as we move forward. The Open is now behind us. We qualified. We would have qualified even if it was top 10%. We would have qualified if it was top 5%. Good, whatever. The Open doesn't matter. We have been training hard. We've been going to the gym twice a week to work on skills, muscle ups, other things that we can't do at the garage. The weather's starting to get nicer. Our cardio is good. Our training session is good. Our body, while momentarily beat up for the moment, is chronically good as far as back pain and hip pain and all the stuff. Been doing tons of stretching and mobility sessions. We're set up to have a great month of training. It's going to be a tough month. The next 4 weeks are going to be grueling on my body, which means that recovery, sleep, nutrition, mobility sessions, all those things are going to be vital because I'm still going to be training as hard and intense at CrossFit to make me as fit as I can in the CrossFit sense for quarterfinals, while also gradually ramping up this half marathon training plan. Um, Good luck to me. I find it fun. It's it leaves me feeling pretty beat up some days though. That's what we have to look ahead to. Again, we'll talk about, we'll probably do the rowing debrief for next week's podcast. Then we'll talk about maybe some other stuff. But that's where we are. Shout out to anyone who did the CrossFit Open. It was another fun year. It's always fun to put your scores on a worldwide leaderboard, expose some of your weaknesses, where you need to train, where you need to get better, and motivate you and give you a little fire for whatever's next. I've also on the side been like far out macro uh, planning, outlining the Ironman that I'm going to someday complete and all the equipment and stuff that I need for that. So just a lot going on right now. Life is good. Life is good. 25-minute podcast. Hate myself. Thank you guys for coming. Remember, don't feel sorry for yourself. And if you catch yourself feeling sorry for yourself, look in the mirror, say, suck it up, buddy. Let's get it done today. Let's go be someone who gets shit done and is a doer and isn't a victim. Don't be a fucking victim. Your excuses aren't valid. Get shit done. Let's have a day. Check out tylerkluver.com or TKG Training. Hit me in the DMs if you have questions. As always, appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you next week.